the most important and biggest what if I've asked again and again is really about this internal process where I'm honest with myself. Like, what if I really could do the things that I dreamed of doing, whatever that thing is at the time? What if I'm actually good enough, qualified enough, ready enough to do that? And truthfully, what if we all are, right? That's the big piece. It's very easy to listen to these stories on repeat in our heads that tell us the same thing, that we're not ready to change or to take a step that's big and scary for us. And I get that. But guess what? There's always going to be a reason at every moment in our lives. There's always going to be an external voice or an internal voice that tells us that you're not ready to do the thing that you dream of doing. I mean, I could do a whole talk. I'll do that someday and I'll record it and I'll send it to y'all. But I could do a whole talk on all the ways that I have never been qualified to do anything in my career that I've done. I could do a whole talk on all the reasons that Kiva shouldn't have worked. I mean, like data-based reasons, like things that actually would have been we could make a great case at every point in time about why that wouldn't have worked or shouldn't have worked. I have a lot of data that would count, right, towards this. But there's always going to be reasons not to start. And there will always be voices pointing out the things that we lack. There you go. Whether the things that you at any given moment lack are possessions or position, right? You're not in a position of power, whether you are unfairly disadvantaged, whether you didn't get into the grad program, right? The pedigree or YC or whatever other stamp of approval you think you absolutely need to take that step. Whether you've made some mistake in the past or had a failure and you don't think that you're good enough to do the next thing. We all have that stuff. And you know what? Great entrepreneurs move forward anyway, and they find a way over, around, through. They don't pay attention to those voices, or at least not as much as they pay attention to the goal that they have in mind. And one of my favorite, very, very favorite definitions of entrepreneurship, maybe you've already come across this in your class, but it's Howard Stevenson, a professor from the Stanford of the East, right? He has this definition. Entrepreneurship is the pursuit of opportunity without regard to resources currently controlled. Now, pay attention to this second half, without regard to resources currently controlled. So I think this is completely beautiful. So entrepreneurs are people who believe that some different version of the future is possible. They ask these great what if questions, and then they run like wild, madly towards that vision. And they disregard the stuff that gets in the way. They disregard the barriers or the things that they might not have at that moment, financial resources, but all those other things in the last slide that we come to believe are necessary. Great entrepreneurs literally disregard those things, and they run after this future for the world as they believe it could be and should be. And I love that.